Would you sell your soul for rock and roll? No, I'm not talking about the Phantom of the Paradise, aka the Brian De Palma movie poster college guys should be hanging on their dorm room wall instead of Scarface. I'm talking about The Devil and Daniel Mouse, Nelvana's charming take on the Faustian bargain, which originally aired on October 5th, 1978, featuring stellar animation, music, and a decent amount of heart. I'm going to talk about some of the background for this movie as well as what takes place inside, so if you'd like to watch it before being spoiled, please check the link below in the description. And by the time this video is up, Kineko Video, a wonderful film scanning and video transfer group, will have posted their new scan of The Devil and Daniel Mouse, so I'll include a link to that below as well. It's extremely important because until this, the best version that we have is a VHS transfer on the Blu-ray for Rock and Roll. Huge day for fans. Oh, and by the way, I'm going to effortlessly tie this movie to Sarah Goodrich's 1828 miniature masterpiece Beauty Revealed, so hold on to your bonnets. Let's dive in, shall we? Nelvana opened its doors in 1973, naming itself after Canada's first superhero, Nelvana of the Northern Lights. I love that. Of course, no one ever names themselves after supervillains. Based out of Toronto, Nelvana is known today for animating the likes of Eek the Cat, Dog City, and, whoa, Toonstruck too?
Mince my meat!
The Devil and Daniel Mouse was Nelvana's second TV special, something of a darling among the staff, as evidenced in the documentary How We Made the Devil and Daniel Mouse. It became the inspiration for 1983's Rock and Roll, a riff on the same sort of deal with the devil story so common at the time thanks to films like 1980's The Apple. Nelvana apparently turned down work on heavy metal to make Rock and Roll, which is pretty heavy metal if you ask me. It's clear that this special is based on Stephen Vincent Benet's 1936 story, The Devil and Daniel Webster, in which a fictionalized Daniel Webster, who is himself a 19th century statesman and lawyer, defends a farmer who sells his soul to the devil, known as Mr. Scratch, which has to be one of my favorite devil nicknames. Are you still with me so far? Good, because I'm about to show the scariest thing you'll ever see on YouTube, some artistic nudity of female breasts. In real life, artist Sarah Goodrich had a crush on Daniel Webster, producing numerous portraits of him. In 1828, the year his wife Grace died of a tumor, Sarah Goodrich painted one of the most important works of art of the century, Beauty Revealed. Having already completed many works in miniature, she painted this self-portrait of her breasts, age 40, on a teeny tiny 2.6 by 3.1 inch piece of ivory using watercolor so that it appeared to glow. She then installed it in this tiny box so Daniel Webster could open it at his leisure. Although they never married, many suspected Sarah of being Daniel Webster's mistress. Wouldn't you shack up if a woman sent you a boob photo 2 centuries before it became commonplace? Now I want to discuss the film itself, but afterward I'll come back to say a little more about how it was made, because there's a companion documentary, as I mentioned. I'm going to go through this movie beat by beat, so please, if you don't want it spoiled, remember, go and watch it in the link below. It's less than half an hour long and it will not disappoint you. The Devil and Daniel Mouse opens on a ramshackle club with Daniel, our main character. A struggling musician, Daniel doesn't do much in this movie until the climax. He's essentially a folk light pop musician, told no one wants that sound anymore.
People don't want your kind of music anymore. They want to rock and roll and disco dance.
He goes to the pawn shop to sell his guitar, and the owner reveals a mountain of broken dreams. Really, this movie is more about Jan than Daniel. Daniel doesn't learn anything he doesn't already know. But woman, born of Adam's rib, carries original sin, and so she is easily led to corruption. Enter Beelzebub, the devil himself. He has an incredible introduction. I'm not sure if he's supposed to be a specific animal, or a dragon, or a general reptilian demon.
My card, pretty lady.
but he could read the phone book and I'd melt. BL is voiced notably by Chris Wiggins, who played two other very important characters in my life. No Heart in Care Bears, who can change into a number of No Heart themed animals, and Jack in Friday the 13th, the series, an older man into all sorts of esoteric occult nonsense, helping two relatives recover cursed artifacts. I highly recommend the show. You can find it on Archive. The plots are tense and creative. Every episode is like one of the good episodes of X-Files. I really like the way BL is shown to be smoking as a component of his evil persona. Smoking is the way I used to communicate the villainy of a previous incarnation of Arlena, so I think that's a pretty neat detail. Obviously smoking kills, but damn, if a cartoon wants to do it, let him. All of BL's little quirks really add up to a fascinating character, like the way he face palms at Wheeze every so often, or that wonderful lip movement. I had a clip of this playing on mute while I was doing something else, and you can read his lips, it's animated so well.
No fooling.
Just like Swan in Phantom of the Paradise, BL insists on blood, because
It's more permanent.
as an evil sorceress, I really must agree. The contract turns out to be incredibly long, and I really appreciate this shot with the silhouettes after Jan signs it. Silhouettes are hard to do convincingly. BL has this remarkable ability to shapeshift at will, and he often does it mid-sentence, becoming more demonic when he becomes angrier, and so on. Let's take a second to count all the various forms in which he appears. Base, good guy, angel, silhouette, cloud, vulture, cat, fish, rhino, tree. Not bad. Maybe one for each circle of hell? Wheeze Weasel is the devil's right-hand man.
You done it again, BL!
I'm not sure what he did to achieve that station, but he's got that lanky, beer belly build that screams burned out or at least washed up. He's probably done some messed up stuff in his life. While he's molding Jan into the image of the perfect rock star, he has this costume change that takes him from he can watch to he's gonna need some lube too in a flash. His hip thrusting is more licentious than 1,000 XXX videos. Enter Funky Jan.
I got a song, this is my time for singing.
Oh no, she's corrupted and frivolous and vain. How horrible. Her ultimate hamartia is having pride in her own beauty and talent. What's the worst thing a man can be corrupted to? Profligacy? Violence? And for woman, the worst thing is being proud of what she's accomplished. I love this situation with a doorknob making reference to both Alice in Wonderland and A Christmas Carol. Interestingly, this movie doesn't have the scene where the star's former friends visit and she casts them out. It's Wheeze that runs interference, and Jan never even gets to see Daniel. She completes her entire journey alone. Cut to a cute pink wolf reporter.
Tell me, Jan, how do you feel about your sudden success?
And
Well, I mean, like, being a big star it's really great, you know?
oh no, it seems they've brain drained Jan into a bimbo too. For the metaphor hungry, the butterfly represents her metamorphosis. What follows is a montage of Jan's skyrocketing rock career, starting with her picture on the cover of Rolling Moss, because a rolling stone gathers no moss. I love when we get to see a group of characters in a bunch of different forms. We get Kiss-style glam rock, pop rock,
This is someone talking to you, and it's not just your radio.
Weasel dressed as Alice Cooper, and finally this big ballad number, which is her greatest musical accomplishment.
Can you hear me? I'm the one that wanted most to sing you songs.
Because no sooner has she completed it than out comes BLZ Bub to collect on their contract. I think it's interesting that despite clearly creating a lot of good emotional connections with her music, the bargain is still bad because she gave up her soul, which is Christian shorthand for what you are. Here's my favorite moment in the film.
What have you been doing?
Traveling around, writing songs. How about you?
I sold my soul to the devil.
Yeah? What?
Yeah. At midnight, he's coming to get me.
Wow. That's heavy.
That is really too good. Because the deadline for the contract is midnight, we're treated to a courtroom show.
She's not going.
Hey, she's got to. She signed a contract.
BL engages in some trickery, choosing an evil jury consisting of a vampire, a leech, and a snake. Every time the heroes think they've caught him in a technicality, he twists around it.
It says right here you have to have 12.
No one cheats the devil on a technicality.
In the end, because the heroes really have no argument, they turn to that indomitable force, music.
Looking for something that there's no set way to find.
To do what exactly? Captivate everyone so they just throw the whole thing out? Well, that's not very fair for BL. In fact, he's so mad he does this exorcist head-spinning thing, which I think really cements him as one of the best devils ever put to film, and I don't just mean animated film. There are too many good shots in this film to count, but my favorite.
Beelzebub, otherwise known as me.
Without further ado, let's jump ahead to the music. The songs in this film were written by the Lovin' Spoonful founder John Sebastian. They're also sung by Valerie Carter, the singer-songwriter who Steve Winwood's song Valerie was probably based on. Interestingly enough, John Sebastian also wrote 20 songs for a stage production of Charlotte's Web, which he wrote in consultation with his godfather Garth Williams, the illustrator of the original book. These are lost media, and it breaks my heart because I sure can't find them. I really want to know what song he wrote for the fair scene. Anyway, I can't talk much about music on YouTube, but I really think the pieces written for this movie are splendid, perfectly fitting the loss of soul and direction and the regaining of friendship and of hope. When she's on top of the world, Jan sings about people listening, but something's missing. She's got people all around her, but she's so alone and wants help finding her song. There's a really good message of depending on your friends and on your art to get you where you need to be. And I think that's a good lesson for anyone. Nothing beats inspiration, and inspiration's free. I'd like to spend some time talking with Lucius about this movie because he's known about it so much longer than I have, and even based his design partly on Beelzebub. Let's see. How do I summon this bloviating dragon? Skin of leather, tail of lizard, bring to me a big fat wizard.
It's good to be back, although I resent you bringing my weight into it, as always.
I'm glad my little summoning spell worked. I want to start by asking, do you remember where you first saw this movie?
I'd say I saw it about a decade ago, shortly after I watched Rock and Roll, which, if you folks haven't seen that one, that's on Lucius's must-see list, but it was like, oh, hey, there's this short film that was a few years prior, and I was smitten with Mr. Zebub's design from the get-go, and he did indeed somewhat inspire my own appearance, in case you couldn't tell.
It's kind of interesting that The Devil and Daniel Mouse is sort of a prototype for Rock and Roll. There's a lot of the same themes, similar characters.
Yes, they really did just retell a very similar story in Rock and Roll. In fact, if you dig deep enough, you can find some early concept art for Rock and Roll in which the characters have a bit more of a furry appeal, I'd say.
Oh yeah, look at that. They do look a lot more furry. Those are some definite snouts. They look a lot more like Dan and Jan, actually.
Yeah, it's a lot closer to the style of that. I love Rock and Roll for what it is, but we've kind of got a three wolves and a baby situation going on here that I think could have been
workshopped.
Yeah, it could have been workshopped a bit more, but that's me saying that as a furry, of course.
Yeah, in a perfect world.
What could have been?
So when you originally made Lucius's design, what parts of Beelzebub were you attracted to that kind of informed how you made his style?
Well, as someone who can't resist a good Faustian bargain, these sorts of devil characters always stand out in my mind and catch my eye, and Beelzebub here is one of the finer examples of a weasel is like a fast talker, but he's like a smooth talker.
He has this kind of mysterious confidence about him. Like, he always knows something that the protagonists don't. And I feel like Lucius generally has that going on too.
Yes, he's just such a prime example of the smooth talking devil character, and it's done so well by making him like a record producer.
He's very urbane. He has a kind of like elegance to him that is really allows him to get under the protagonist's skin and get past their defenses.
Put on a good performance is how you get those souls.
Oh yeah, definitely. What sort of elements from Beelzebub did you try to put into Lucius's character?
Well, apart from his physique, let's say, the more draconic features, of course.
Oh yeah, the dewlap.
Delicate hands, his dewlap, his swept back hair.
He's a snappy dresser too. I think that's a big part of it. He's very well groomed for someone coming from the pit. So, I'm curious actually, everyone loves Beelzebub in this movie, but are there any other characters that you really find yourself drawn to?
I'm actually a big fan of Weasel as well. He's another character type that I very much enjoy. The sinuous, serpentine way that he's animated, he's just a lot of fun to watch.
I'm sure if this movie was bigger with the kids, there would be a lot of people with like Weasel shrines in their bedrooms.
People love a skinny weirdo.
Yeah, definitely. Well, thank you so much for talking to me. I guess I should unsummon you now so I can finish up the episode.
Thank you for having me on to talk about one of my favorite animated specials. I do hope you and your viewership have a happy Halloween.
And it was lovely to have you on the show again. Hopefully we can do so again soon. Now, let's see if I can remember how to get rid of you. I heard Selfridges has a sale on chocolates.
Oh, chocolate. I must be off, my dear, but try not to overdo it on the candy this time.
I mentioned the documentary earlier, How We Made the Devil and Daniel Mouse, and it gives us a look at every step of the process. The whole thing is up on YouTube, so again, check out the video description for a link.
This is a film about how we made the Devil and Daniel Mouse.
The documentary mostly follows director Clive Smith, a man you can tell has a British accent before he even opens his mouth.
It's the very first one, the one in the first club, the folk song, where they get thrown out of the club. They get fired, right.
And head of animation Frank Nissen.
That, in case you can't guess, is the devil. Meanwhile, Frank explains the storyboard to a layout person.
We open on the bare ground, as it were. Right?
I'm not sure people are aware of what happens in the story meetings of film and television, but it does tend to involve the acting out of scenes.
Just very relaxed, and he should maybe bang his knee or something.
Right.
You know, like, no, he's not going to take it.
I love the enthusiasm. You can tell they really care about what they're making. Check out the Mickey Mouse amulet Weasel's voice actor Martin Lavitt is wearing.
I hope practice makes perfect.
I declare you free. I declare you free. I declare you free. I declare you free.
He also played Mylar in Rock and Rule, in case you're seeing a resemblance. I also happen to own the storybook of the film, written by the author of the screenplay, Ken Sobel. It refers to BL as a, quote, thick, clammy-looking, heavy-eyed lizard. Nice. It even has sheet music for all the film's songs, which is a pretty neat addition if you ask me. In the book, one of the things BL offers Jan, in addition to fame and fortune, is the opportunity to meet Ronald McDonald in person.
Do you believe in magic? What's this? And I hope you do.
Pass. Well, that's all I have for today, but I want to wish you all a very happy Halloween, aka Gay Christmas, aka Samhain. May all your nightmares come true, because who doesn't need a little darkness to make the light bearable? Once again, I'd like to thank all my wonderful Laserdisc Patreon supporters. For only $5, fans can hear me roll their names around my mouth like candies. So thank you, Kadath, Hua, Dornassus, Chrono Flash, Dominic Foxley, Victor the Mewtwo, Kilbaro Khan, JF, Delano Possum, Alex McFall, Joe the English Otter, Silly Scotty Dog, Cookie Trails, Plexel, Stubadub, Crown, Norman Whitetail, Princess Isabella, Vera Lycaon, and Miorja. Go easy on the Halloween candy, huh? Unless you want to end up like me. Oof. Can someone help me reach this lollipop?